Welcome back to Teachable Moments with April podcast. I am your host, April. How to stop feeling guilty about practicing self-care from PsychCentral.com. One of the biggest, if not the biggest, barrier to practicing self-care is guilt. Women in particular feel incredibly guilty for tending to their needs. Food and relaxation are prime examples of self-care. Think how many times a day you see some kind of reference to a woman indulging, splurging, or sinning because she meets a basic need, like eating food she enjoys or taking time to relax. There's also the belief that taking care of yourself leaves less time and energy for others. But as Rachel W. Cole, a life coach and retreat leader, said, self-care is other care. In other words, practicing self-care helps us help others more effectively. Below, Cole and Elder share other powerful ideas to consider if the palpable guilt appears. Being self-centered. We can move through self-care guilt by deciding that a big part of our service to the world is being exquisitely self-centered, Cole said. But this has nothing to do with being selfish or narcissistic. Cole defines self-centered as someone who is centered deeply within themselves. As she writes in this post, she further explains. Self-centered women are not easily blown over by the gusts of other people's opinions, agendas, or problems coming their way. Their strong center keeps them steady. Self-centered women don't put others before themselves to the point that they have nothing left. In turn, they have more to give to everyone. Self-centered women are their own compass, their own North Stars. They navigate these choppy waters as an eye in the storm. This is why we don't often take refuge in their work, words, and presence. They are lighthouses for the rest of us because they are lighthouses for themselves. Self-care as finite. Think of care as a finite resource, like money in the bank. You can give more than you have without bankrupting yourself. You can't invest your money in making more money if you give it all away. Having the resource to share with others depends on conservation and renewal of your own supply. Avoiding resentment. When you're tempted to do or give too much because of guilt, Elder says, remind yourself of the risk of resentment. Think about what it feels like to be on the receiving end of a resentful giver, she said. This person generously helps you out and then reminds you of it with loud sighs and indirect comments about how much they sacrifice. And this never feels good for either person. But when we overdo or overgive, bitter sentiments are a natural result. Giving more than you can spare ultimately leaves you resentful and spent, Elder says. Self-care actually turns out to be a powerful way to care for others. According to Elder, one of the most loving things you can do for people in your life, your kids, your partner, your friends, and your colleagues is not put them in a place of future resentment. This kind of care nurtures both you and your relationship, she said. Ultimately, remember that self-care is essential and non-negotiable. It's not the same as pampering, but on some days, it could be. When we confound the two, we make self-care into an indulgence or a someday activity. It's neither. Self-care is everything from getting enough sleep to being honest with your spouse. It's giving yourself what you need and asking what you need from others. Self-care is a fundamental piece of our lives, as Cole said. We're part of the fabric of life, and we ourselves are our little patch to take care of. If you like this article, go to PsychCentral.com to browse their other resources. inspire, host, create, explore endless new possibilities, next level broadcasting. If you haven't heard about Anchor by Spotify, it's the easiest way to make a podcast with everything you need all in one place. Let me explain. Anchor has tools that allow you to record and edit your podcast right from your phone or computer. When hosting on Anchor, you can distribute your podcast on listening platforms like Spotify, Apple Podcasts, and so many more. It's everything you need to make a podcast in one place. And best of all, Anchor is totally free. Download the Anchor app or go to Anchor FM to get started. Self-Care versus Guilt from propelwomen.org. When I take time for myself, I feel guilty. I always feel like I should be doing more work or spending that time with my family. How can I overcome this? Guilt is a common feeling for women, regardless if they work outside the home or not. As women, we often let guilt control what we do. We become controlled by what we are supposed to do, instead of embracing the fact that it's okay to leave the vacuuming for another day so we can go for a run. Brené Brown talks about guilt as the sense that I have done something wrong. For many women, the equation looks like this: chores plus work plus wifely duties plus parenting plus etc. equal what I should be doing. Therefore, self-care plus doing things for myself equal the wrong thing to be doing, which equals guilt. But what if the equation looked like this? How might that change the way we exist in the here and now? Chores plus work plus wifely duties plus parenting plus self-care plus etc. equals what I should be doing. Do you see the difference? Self-care needs to be included in what you should be doing. It is not a privilege. It is a necessity. For many women, every time they choose themselves over the laundry, the dishes, the kids, the work, or their husbands or their partners, they feel guilty. But they should not feel this way. Choosing yourself is not wrong. The longer you go without taking time for yourself, the more resentment will fester, exhaustion will set in, and you will have nothing left to give to anyone. Guilt has no place in the decision to take care of yourself. If you struggle with feeling guilty, try these 5 steps. Number 1, give yourself permission. The first step in eliminating feelings of guilt for investing in yourself is to give yourself permission. It sounds simple, doesn't it? It should be, but for many women, it is not. We get so caught up in all of the other roles and responsibilities that we lose sight of our own needs for ourselves and ourselves. Number 2, tell someone your needs. Tell your spouse, a friend, or a colleague that you are feeling burned out and need some time for yourself, but are finding it difficult to embrace that because of other responsibilities. Ask if he or she will help keep you accountable for making time for your passions. You also might consider asking for help in evaluating where in your schedule you can create boundaries so that you don't overwork or over-yes yourself. Number 3, make the time. Determine where in your schedule you can make time for yourself. Many women find that fringe hours, which are pockets of time that often go underused or wasted altogether, are perfect for practicing self-care. Common times that can be leveraged include early mornings, lunch breaks, times of waitings, and evenings. Determine where you can capture fringe hours for yourself. Number 4, do it. Now comes the hard part, actually doing the thing, getting up early to have some quiet time to read and pray. Journaling while you wait for a meeting to begin. Saying no to an evening work meeting because you made plans to work out. Whatever you choose to do for you, the doing it can be the hardest part, especially if you are usually riddled with guilt for choosing yourself. However, once we embrace investing in ourselves, and I think that's very important, this is not in the article, investing in ourselves and begin to practice self-care, the benefits will quickly become apparent. When we recognize that honoring ourselves is critical, let me say it again, critical to living a fulfilling life, we can begin to experience freedom in this practice. And number 5, do it again and again and again. The first time you choose yourself over another task, those feelings of guilt may creep in. You might think you made the wrong choice, but you didn't. You just need more practice at choosing you. So do it again and again and again until you become part of your lifestyle. Eventually, it will become normal. Your coworkers and family will definitely see a difference, and they will see the light of someone who is stewarding their gifts and talents joyfully. Embrace self-care, and you will see a powerful, positive impact in every area of your life. And this was written by Jessica N. Turner. She's an award-winning marketing professional and author of the book, The Fringe Hours, Making Time for You. She's also the founder of the popular lifestyle blog, The Mom Creative, where she documents her pursuit of cultivating a life well-crafted. Additionally, she's a writer for the HuffPost, Parents, and Dayspring's Encourage, an advocate for World Vision, and a regular speaker at blogging conferences nationwide. She and her husband Matthew live with their 3 children in Nashville, Tennessee. I hope you enjoyed today's episode. Thanks for listening to Teachable Moments with April. If you did enjoy this episode, I invite you to come right back to check out my podcast and my other episodes. Don't forget to listen, add us to your favorites, and support by clicking on the link in the description. As always, be blessed and be well. Until next time.